Well, there's a combination of solutions for charging. There's solutions for home charging, destination charging, and of course public charging. Public charging will probably be the most visible of which, and that's something that we're really focusing on with our network of electric forecourts, which are designed to make charging electric vehicles as simple as using petrol stations. I think we need to make it much easier for people to get involved with electric vehicles, to understand what electric vehicles are, how electric vehicles can be useful for individual people, whether it's private vehicles, whether it's fleet vehicles. Of course, we need to make it extremely easy to charge electric vehicles, much easier than it is today.
Well, here we are. This is such an exciting moment. We're here with Toddington Harper. You've seen the opening of this video on just what this amazing facility is, the world's first electric forecourt. So Toddington, this is barely 2 years in the making from what was in your brain to what we now see around us. How excited are you, and when will this open? Because it looks, you've been getting on with it, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly exciting. It's actually a lot more than 2 years in the making.
Okay.
Myself, my journey into electric vehicles started around 6 years ago, where I've been building a lot of solar energy projects, and I realised, actually how much fossil fuels it takes to build a renewable energy project, particularly around transportation needs. So I thought, we need to sort this out and, practice what you preach, really. And so one of the first things I did is, as soon as it became possible to use an electric car, I bought one and I cast off from combustion engines, and I went away. But I then realised quite how difficult it was to use an electric car, particularly given what I do in life.
Yeah.
Because I decided that it wasn't going to be a single journey that I wasn't going to attempt just because I had an electric car.
Right.
And that caused an awful lot of complexity. My dear wife and many people have bared with me over time, and many experiences, a number of which haven't worked out. But really, all of that education and all of that learning has been incredibly important, because effectively it's all gone into what we have here.
So can you give us just the flavour of what is the setup here?
Yeah, okay, so well, actually, in the order that you presented it, on this site we have 5 megawatts of power. We have a 5 megawatt grid connection, which is an awful lot of power, and in addition to that, we also have a 5 megawatt battery, which is over there. You
right.
See it.
I think I saw that. Yeah, I've come here briefly before, so yes, I know there's stuff behind that.
6 megawatt hours of energy into it, which again is an awful lot. If you think that for every megawatt hour, you can drive an electric vehicle 4,000 miles effectively.
Right. Okay.
So we can. What's that? 24,000 miles of charging we can store in a battery.
Nice.
Give or take at any one point in time. So we've got a lot of power here. We have 24, really high power chargers here, up to 350 kilowatts. We've got a further six very high power chargers just around the corner, and they're branded. We'll be announcing who these are soon. And we've also got some AC chargers as well. So we really have an awful lot of power and an awful lot of chargers, so that anybody should be able to charge any vehicle whatsoever without anxiety, without concern whether they're going to be able to charge, and actually, as importantly, as quickly as those vehicles will be able to. And so, what we're actually doing, we've acquired a project recently, also a non-subsidy project, because it's very important to us to demonstrate that we can deliver this type of infrastructure without the requirement for subsidies. So that the commercial benefits of a project like this stack up under its own right, because really that's the only way we think we're going to be able to get to net zero in the earliest possible timeframes. So what we've done is we've purchased a solar farm about an hour and a half away.
Right.
That solar farm collects the energy, it harvests the energy from the sun. Mm-hmm. Some of the energy is used on site for other purposes, which we'll be announcing in due course. And there's also a 6 megawatt battery on that site too, so we can shift energy. But I guess critically for this site, we're then putting that energy, a lot of the energy, into the grid in one location. So that's zero carbon energy going into the grid in one location.
Okay.
And we're pairing that with this project here. So every kilowatt hour that we take out of this project, we net off against a 0 carbon kilowatt hour that we put in.
Right. Okay.
And what that effectively means is that we'll be able to be providing net zero power here,
Yes.
and ultimately, together with the vehicle solutions that we'll be providing, it means that anybody who charges a vehicle at any of these type of premises, or indeed gets a vehicle through one of the partners that we through the kind of offerings that we'll be announcing soon, in conjunction with Hitachi Capital, actually they're getting a net zero car. It's net zero motoring.
Right. Okay.
So the really exciting thing for us in terms of when we open, which will be around the autumn this year, around October is the target date, is that we'll be providing net zero transport from this year, from 2020.
Right.
So we intend to continue to provide it way up to 2050, as opposed to this kind of goal of getting to net zero by 2050.
Yeah.
We're getting to it this year.
Wow.
And we're going to stay here.
Yeah.
All the way through.
This is the delivery of
People
that
can be
that vision.
completely confident that if they charge at any of these sites that we're delivering, for every electron that they take out of the grid,
Right.
there's a green electron going in.
Right. Gotcha.
In addition to that, we have a solar canopy and solar
Yeah.
panels on there. There's about a couple of hundred kilowatts of solar, and in fact, and some other sites that we're developing as well. We're also building next to the sites solar farms as well. So we're directly connecting those solar farms, as opposed to, and then that would be zero carbon transport.
Yeah,
as
no,
opposed to net
that's
zero transport.
I understand. Yeah.
But either way, people can be very, very confident. And
Yes.
it's a real criticism. The efficiencies of electric cars are considerable, but of course, if you're still using fossil fuels to derive that energy, you're not helping as much as you possibly could be.
Right.
And you need a step change. We need to deliver net zero. We need to deliver it now.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're doing.
Oh, this is certainly a step change. What about the prospect of wireless charging? Because I have a little involvement in that, and could that be something in the future we might see at electric forecourts, Todd?
Yeah, I mean, certainly wireless charging. In fact, really anything that can make the experience for customers as easy, straightforward, and awesome as possible is something that we want to continue to embrace. So,
Right.
we as GridServe, we are a technology-enabled company. There's an awful lot of technology here. We're very much at the forefront. And we are really keen to look at a whole variety of solutions that can make the whole experience better. So
Great. Well, look, I just want to congratulate you on fulfilling an ambition. As I heard from your mother, well, I think maybe a couple of years ago at an event, the story of your father's ambition with solar energy and how you helped fulfill that with your brother Heston and the rest of the family. And here you are now on the cusp of the world's first electric forecourt. It's extraordinary, and I wish you so much luck. This is a big story, and I'm sure people are so looking forward to pulling up in their EV, getting charged up, coming into the facility and learning a whole bunch of new stuff. So thank you so much for your time, Toddington.
And thank you, Roger. And just on that one, it really is. It is really quite bizarre. My father was building petrol stations around 60 years ago.
Yeah.
After the oil crisis, he cast off to look for sustainable energy solutions, and him and my mother really found solar energy and batteries, which is kind of the world that I was born into.
Yes.
They named their children, Heston, who's my older brother, who also works, in the business, and myself, and Toddington after service stations.
Yeah.
And I took a very indirect route around the houses, building various sustainable energy companies to ultimately find myself building solar energy and battery storage solutions for critical infrastructure, which is actually what we look at here.
Yes.
And so we've kind of gone full circle. So now we're building, something not dissimilar to service stations.
Yeah.
Albeit, I guess more akin to, a future version of a petrol station.
Yes.
But at the very core is solar energy, batteries, and it's a very interesting. The world has kind of gone full circle.
It needed to, didn't it?
I have come here today and it is very emotional. It's absolutely an extraordinary achievement for Toddington and Heston to see this electric forecourt being built.